Ask the Messengers, the program that deals with substance abuse, real people telling real stories. Where there is addiction, there is a chance for recovery. We're trying to help save lives on Ask the Messengers.
The DWIHN Integrated Health Network provides services and support to 75,000 people in Wayne County. DWIHN serves people with mental illness, intellectual and developmental disabilities, individuals with substance use disorders, and children with serious emotional disturbances. DWIHN is the largest and most diverse community mental health agency in the state of Michigan, and it is committed to providing the highest quality of integrated health care to those it serves while working alongside with dedicated and compassionate provider network. Today on the Ask the Messengers TV show, we introduce to you two people from their provider network. First, April Meadows. She is a peer support supervisor for Personalized Nursing Lighthouse, serving the needs of adults seeking recovery from addiction. And also on today's show, we have Dr. Karla Mitchell of the Changing Lives and Staying Sober, better known as CLASS. It's a nonprofit organization with a mission to provide strategies and treatment services for families to improve the quality of their lives. Let's begin today's episode by getting to know April Meadows.
Well, my name's April Meadows. I've been in recovery now for 3.5 years. My life growing up, I grew up in Columbus, Ohio, so I'm not from Michigan. I grew up in a very well-off family. I grew up going to private school my whole life. I had 3 full rides to do 3 different universities. But when I was about 17 years old, I lost my mom. She died of a blood clot, and then that sort of started me off into drinking heavily because I didn't really have an outlet. I'm the first person in my family with addiction issues, but mental health has always been predominant in my family. We just never talked about it. So I had started off drinking to suppress the feelings that I was having and all that. And then I sort of fell into the wrong crowd and dabbling with drugs. And as you know, it progresses. So I really started using crack cocaine and alcohol for a long period of time. When I was 24, I tried to leave. I left the state of Ohio thinking that it was going to be, Ohio was my problem, and I ended up in North Carolina, continued to drink because alcohol was legal. But then I met a guy, I ended up in Detroit, and that is when I switched from alcohol to heroin, IV heroin user, day one.
So would you say your addiction journeys, were you influenced by others? Were you just curious? Like, how did you find yourself okay, you said you started drinking because you had situations in the home, but how did you?
I was hanging out with people that were older than me, so we would go to the clubs, and it was just, they didn't influence me. I just wanted to drink, not knowing that I had a substance abuse problem.
So what advice do you have for others who may be in the lifestyle, or those who have friends that are in the lifestyles, you know, the enablers? What would you say to them?
I'd say definitely, I know it's hard, but don't enable. We have to hit our rock bottom. For some of us, that's a little bit further than most. My rock bottom was almost death. But be there in the sense that you love them, but, you know, you're not going to enable them. The best thing you can do is love from afar, because we have to learn our own lessons. And when we're ready, we're ready.
So now let's take a moment, because, you know, we use terms within the recovery community that the typical grandma doesn't understand. So we'll throw that term out, enabler, right? We got enabler, we got codependent. There's so many different terms that the average family member, like I said, grandma, because a lot of grandmothers are raising their children now, so they don't understand all the new stuff. Tell somebody what an enabler is. So if somebody's watching right now you're explaining what an enabler is, and they'll be like, holy, that's me.
An enabler is somebody who is basically helping the addict get away with what they're doing by giving money, letting them stay in the house using, allowing them to steal from you and not doing anything about it, not pressing charges, just basically help keeping that person in active addiction, help keeping them sick as well.
But it's my son. That's my daughter.
I know.
I'm going to give my daughter the $20 every time she asks me all day.
Well, here's the thing. That $20, can put your daughter in the grave. So it becomes a choice that you have to make. Are you going to stand there and help bury your own child, or are you going to stand up and be like, no, you need help, and I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do X, Y, and Z until you get the help that you need.
So this segment is about human trafficking. It breaks my heart every time I hear something on the news about people, being trafficked, and they busted this traffic ring, and they had one not too long ago where there were 9-year-old kids. So how did you get in? How did you get into it, and how did you get out of it?
Yeah, I was brought in through the coercion of drugs. I was an addict, so they had an unlimited supply of what I wanted. I really never understood what human trafficking was until I was taken out of. I was one of the girls that was involved in one of the largest federal rings, the Victory. And it wasn't until then that I realized what I was involved in, and if it wasn't for, the police coming in and helping, I don't know where I would be today. So if it wasn't for the Detroit police officers in Dearborn, I don't know, but they're the ones who really, looked at me like I was a victim, and which I was, but they're the ones that helped me understand what I was involved in.
For someone trying to get out of human trafficking, how would somebody, besides the 800 number, what are some of the avenues or something? Let's just say, for example, somebody's watching this right now and they're involved in something that they think is prostitution, but it's really human trafficking. What could you say to them, like, discreetly now? They're watching TV and they might be in that situation. What would you say?
There's a group that I've worked with, Soap, who puts the bars of soap in the rooms with the human trafficking number on it. So look, it's there because I've seen it when I was out there. They're in nice hotels. They're in, not so nice hotels, but you can get out, if you have that opportunity, take it.
We're going to wrap this up. What advice do you have for loved ones who are struggling with someone in an addiction?
Don't give up hope, because if somebody would have given up hope on me, I don't know if I would have been here today.
Stay tuned for more of the Ask the Messengers TV show. When we return, we will speak with another DWIHN Integrated Health Network provider, Dr. Karla Mitchell, who is the director of the CLASS organization. When we return, we will find out what CLASS is all about and what she does to serve our communities.
Underage drinking is responsible for more than 4,300 deaths of youth annually. DWIHN, along with its provider partners, strive to educate young people on the deadly dangers of alcohol use and abuse. We teach youth about the dangers of drinking, especially when driving. If you are looking for resources to share with your loved one, give the DWIHN Integrated Health Network a call 24/7, 800-241-4949. Here to talk, here to help. More than 2.5 million Americans are addicted to opioids. The addiction is sometimes developed through the improper use of prescription painkillers. Using prescribed medication in ways or amounts not intended by a doctor is very dangerous. So it's important that unused prescriptions are properly disposed of. If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, or for more information about prevention, treatment, and recovery services, or how to properly dispose of medication, contact the DWIHN Integrated Health Network 24/7, 800-241-4949. Here to talk, here to help.
Hi, my name is Artesia Washington, and I'd like to welcome you to Irvine Neuro Rehab, where we help you reach your goals of rehabilitation. So you ask, why choose Irvine? Now here at Irvine, we offer physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech and language pathology, counseling, aquatic therapy, and massage therapy. And we help build you back to your previous level of functioning. Give us a call, 248-415-2500, www.irvineneurorehab.com.
If you or someone you know is battling with any type of cancer, you need to read the book by Laverne Moore Slaughter, God Encounters Are Real. In her book, she tells how through prayer and faith, God healed her and set her free from stomach cancer. For more information and to get your copy, visit www.encountersarereal.net.
I'm Wayne County Treasurer Eric Sabree, encouraging all taxpayers to please take advantage of the several payment options available.
You can pay online by visiting the Wayne County Treasurer's Office website. Paying online is easy and convenient.
You can also download the mobile app and pay with your smartphone.
You can pay at one of 70 kiosks located throughout Wayne County.
And yes, you can always still send in your payments using the U.S. Postal Service.
If you have to visit our office in person, you must make an appointment by going to treasurer.waynecounty.com. It only takes a few minutes. Facial covering or mask is required and social distancing is observed. Your health and safety is very important to us. You can also email our office at taxinfo@waynecounty.com or call us at 313-224-5990.
All right, we are back, and now we have another Detroit Wayne Integrated Health Network provider and partner, Dr. Karla Mitchell, with the organization called CLASS, CLASS. And so I'm going to depend on Dr. Mitchell to tell us what this organization is all about and what does CLASS stand for. Welcome to the show, Dr. Mitchell.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate the work that you guys are doing in the virtual space. And so,
yeah, hey, COVID had us rethink a whole lot of things, but we're getting it done, right?
And that's what people are doing. And so I commend you for being able to do that. So CLASS Agency is an acronym for Changing Lives and Staying Sober. We are a nonprofit founded by the esteemed Carolyn Kennedy Anderson well over 15 years ago. And our mission and vision is to provide services that help to improve the quality of life for those people affected by substance misuse or mental health challenges.
Tell us, what are some of the most common issues that you see young people are dealing with right now, and how do we help them? Because, you know, we've been COVID, stay home, go to school. Do we go to school? Do we stay home? But I still got to deal with other family issues. So what are some of the most common things that you're seeing with young people right now?
You know, it is so sad. We have to have these conversations, but it's difficult for me because I'm a mother first.
Yeah.
And a lot of our kids' mental health is just taking a dive. Social distancing has really put our kids in a place where they long for connectedness. And even, you know, before the pandemic, there were not a lot of opportunities for kids to gather, I should say. A lot of our focus groups and the community-based needs assessments that we were doing, at least in
the rec centers were far and few between.
Yep. So, and even for my kids, their ability to socialize with their peers was while they were at school.
Yes.
And so what we're seeing happening with kids now is not only are they disconnected and their mental health is taking a dive, they are bearing witness to more of the drama and trauma that takes place at home, where being at school would shield them from. And greater access and frequency to the use of alcohol and other substances, whether they're doing it themselves or watching adults do it more frequently.
Right.
And you know, just the day before yesterday, I have a 17-year-old daughter. A mutual friend of hers committed suicide by hanging, teenager. So what I'm seeing mostly is the mental health of our youth is declining severely, and in direct relationship to that is the way that they are exploring ways to cope.
I was about to, you right in my brain, because I'm like, So what are, we know what the issues are. It's like, okay, first they tell us we could go to school, then they tell us we can't go to school. Then what the last year is like, okay, no school, period. Now it's like, whoa, okay, we're going to issue laptops and computers, but you can only get one. If you got 10 kids in the house, you only get one,
It's a mess.
And the coping situation, before it was hard enough. And like you said, now, and then the suicide rates, it's so startling that the suicide rate of the young children is rising. It's just it's heartbreaking.
It's out of control, right? One life is too many.
Yes.
Exacerbated by what we're experiencing in the pandemic, the risk is much greater. Not only are our kids struggling with their mental health, but they don't have mechanisms to cope. So, last year, in that is the reason why we developed programs like the Detroit Youth Empowerment Awards, partner with other organizations to do the DFC virtual house party and the holiday house party, because we literally were thinking like, our poor babies are out here at home, estranged from their friends. They can't connect socially like they normally would. And there's just nothing for them to do but TV and video games and social media, which we know also have some heavy influences on sex, drugs, and alcohol and tobacco. Right. So it's just been a challenge finding ways to keep them connected. And so class has been at the forefront of engaging kids where they are. Social media, TikTok, Instagram, and putting activities out there that engage them in ways that give them hope.
So through your organization, you've learned how to navigate in their lane. You've learned how to navigate and assimilate to where they can understand. Because was one thing, traditionally, you have your rec center or you have your little after school whatevers. But like you said, we're in a social space now. So it sounds like you've learned how to navigate and meet them where they stand.
Absolutely. And I'd say we're still learning, right? Because, as time goes on, you can saturate. We've always known this. Media can saturate us with messages. And that's really what we've been trying to do. So we're still learning, and we're still trying to innovate new ways to reach our youth as the world opens back up.
With the COVID and schools not meeting on the normal face-to-face, do you still work with the schools? Because I heard you do a traveling classroom. What is that all about?
So a traveling classroom is really, it's the same. We've pivoted the same way that you do. And so we used to have targeted populations through partnerships with schools that we worked with in the area. But obviously, there's been so many challenges getting kids to be attentive during the regular school day. There's just no room for prevention programming in the school day. And so essentially, we opened our target population to the social media base. We do targeted social media engagements to get kids to log on to our class. And so really, our class is traveling to your living room, really. And we're offering our life skill sessions that way.
Through those social media outlets where where they hang out at, right?
Exactly. And we plan, you can register for our life skills workshops, or, some of them will do like a Facebook Live session.
Nice. Oh, you got to meet them where they stand. That's the only way you're going to get to them. That's for sure.
Yep, you have to.
So, there's a stigma for everything, but the stigma for mental illness has been what it is for as long as we've been born in the world and before, right? There's always this stigma associated with mental health issues. For example, you just shared about the young lady who committed suicide. And that's, when you get to that point, there is totally something mentally wrong. So how can we reduce this stigma, and how can we help young people to not be afraid to ask for help?
So I'm going to try to answer this from two perspectives. And I'm going to, before I say the answer, I have to say, for me, everything goes back to our humanity, right? Everything goes back to our humanity, not necessarily applying book knowledge or degree knowledge to interacting with other humans. It goes back to our humanity. And then the second thing I'm going to offer before I answer is I did the trauma-informed care conference last week for DWIHN, and I had a panel of youth who had mental health issues and trauma. And one of the things, and I'm going to the youth because we have to listen to what they have to say, right? We can't deliver service, deliver care, deliver concern that doesn't connect with our youth, right?
Right.
And that was one of the things one of the youth said was like, your child might be in the house all day and you might, as a parent or as an adult, say, well, all they do is stay on their phone and lock themselves in the room. And then you go about your day normally. So it's really like relearning the messages that they're sending us instead of imposing our opinions on them that we grew up with. And that is just a basic, it seems simple enough, right? Like it seems like a simple thing, but it's really not obvious to a lot of adults. We are all dealing with a lot. So when we come home from work at the end of the day and our child is locked in the room, we're like, oh, they're just on their cell phone. But our kids are dealing with some astronomical issues post-pandemic, starting with the fact that they don't have any outlets, right? Far less outlets than they had before the pandemic started. And so we have to be mindful of the way that we're interpreting their messages.
We'll be right back with more of Ask the Messengers.
I'm Wayne County Treasurer Eric Sabri, encouraging all taxpayers to please take advantage of the several payment options available. If you have to visit our office in person, you must make an appointment by going to treasurer.waynecounty.com. It only takes a few minutes. Facial covering or mask is required and social distancing is observed. You can also email our office at taxinfo@waynecounty.com or call us at 313-224-5990.
Underage drinking is responsible for more than 4,300 deaths of youth annually. DWIHN, along with its provider partners, strive to educate young people on the deadly dangers of alcohol use and abuse. We teach youth about the dangers of drinking, especially when driving. If you are looking for resources to share with your loved one, give the Detroit Wayne Integrated Health Network a call, 24/7, 800-241-4949. Here to talk, here to help. More than 2.5 million Americans are addicted to opioids. The addiction is sometimes developed through the improper use of prescription painkillers. Using prescribed medication in ways or amounts not intended by a doctor is very dangerous. So it's important that unused prescriptions are properly disposed of. If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, or for more information about prevention, treatment, and recovery services, or how to properly dispose of medication, contact the Detroit Wayne Integrated Health Network, 24/7, 800-241-4949. Here to talk, here to help.
So just what advice would you give to a struggling parent right now?
So the first bit of advice would be to connect to our agency so that we can help do some case finding and some resource bridge building for people. We're www.classagency.org. The number to our agency is 313-412-2160. I'm proud to say that at the heart of the pandemic, we were able to pivot and bring resources that we otherwise do not have access to people in our community. So if you're a struggling parent, it doesn't matter where you are in that struggle, reach out to our agency so that we can connect you with some of the resources and other organizations that we have. That's the first thing. The second thing is, and this is more personal to me, is serve. The best thing that you can do is give out of your need, right? And so one of the things that creates hope and resiliency is to serve other people. And we are always looking for helping hands here at the agency. So go volunteer and you'd be surprised what blessings come out of giving, right?
Yeah.
And I know that's hard. It seems easier said than done, but you have to start somewhere. You have to start somewhere.
That's true.
You do. You have to start somewhere. Connect with other people in the struggle.
And those volunteer opportunities most oftentimes lead to some really good permanent positions too. So you got to give a little to get something. So
you have to get, that's the ebb and flow of life. It's give and take.
Yes, for sure. So final thing here. Yes. What would you say is the most rewarding part of your job? Or I wouldn't even call it a job. What is, because we've talked now, so I wouldn't even call it a job. So what is the most rewarding part of your service work that you do?
The most rewarding part, I think it's hard to say, really. Honestly,
Uh-oh. That's right. A Jeopardy question. No, I'm just kidding.
It is. It really, rarely am I ever stumped because I do love what I do. And I can't even really point out one part of it. I mean, I love the support that I get from our funders like DWIHN and the people within that organization who are committing to seeing us thrive and excel. There's so much longevity there, which just tells you that people who work for the organization are committed to our cause.
True.
What's rewarding is the willingness of our youth to participate in all the stuff that we do, and the discovery that comes along with the education that we provide. I've always been told people know better. They do better when they know better. Mm-hmm. And understanding that people don't know what they don't know, it's rewarding for me to engage a youth, give them some information, and they make a different choice in an instant, right? That's very rewarding for me, because there's more information out there about what they shouldn't be doing than there is about what they should be doing. So it's rewarding for me to be able to provide that level of education and see kids just make a quick twitch in their thought process. That's rewarding.
Dear Kimarian.
Dear Allie.
My name is April, and a lot has happened to me. I was involved in 2 human trafficking rings that both made the news. At 22 years old, my father passed away, and that is when I was on a suicide mission. And I started taking pain pills, smoking crack cocaine, and drinking to run from all the pain that I felt inside of me.
You've been through a lot in your 20 years of life. You've dodged death more times than you can count. Watched people close to you die firsthand. Dealing with your ADHD, your trauma, and also attempted suicide are only the tip of the icebergs. But you have also persevered through all of it.
I was in and out of treatment for several years. Finally, in 2017, something clicked in me. I started to look at my life in a different light. Instead of why me, I was like, why not me? I allowed everything that I had been through to empower me, and that I made it out alive. I am a survivor.
I know sometimes it's hard to be happy, and it's hard to keep going. I think everyone should try to remind themselves that every hour that you keep breathing means you're doing something amazing.
You have a vision you want to pursue. You have to set an example for your siblings. My advice to you is, keep your past at your side so you can look back on it for reference. Stay in the present because you might miss something important. And look forward to the future. Anything is possible.
However frustrating it may be, I cannot control anyone else's thoughts, actions, or feelings. I can only control myself and what I choose to do with my own thoughts, actions, and feelings.
Sincerely, yourself. My name is Kimarian.
My name is Allie.
My name is April.
And this is not my suicide note.
Won't you help us to do exactly what our motto is, and that is to help save lives? Won't you send a generous donation to the information there on the screen? We would love to have you as part of our partnership to help save lives. You may not be able to go out in the street, you may not be able to come here to the show, but you can send your donation that helps us save lives.
Well, that concludes this week's episode of the Ask the Messengers TV show. We want to thank April Meadows and Dr. Mitchell for sharing what they do to help make our communities a safer and better place. Also, we thank DWIHN Integrated Health Network and all of their partners for what they do to help our communities as a whole. So this is Tina Nelson for the Ask the Messengers TV show, and we will see you next week.